rings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills, knives get loud. Big EQB, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it on a Thursday, ready to go with UFC 109 coming up this weekend. Yet another Apex event, but it's a decent one. I mean, last week's card didn't turn out to be too bad. I guess for the most part. There was some fun fights in there. We had 2 fight of the night bonuses handed out. So, and then the main card ended in a finish. And yeah, it was pretty entertaining, pretty much all the way through for the most part. So, you know, just one of those events that people sometimes think is going to be shit and then turns out to be okay. I wouldn't say it was like great or anything. I mean, it was pretty fucking good considering you got 2 fight of the night bonuses handed out. But, you know, and those were great fights, fun fights to watch. You had some finishes throughout the card. I mean, overall, not too bad. Not too bad at all. So I can't complain too much. Sometimes these Apex events get to be, especially when you have back-to-back, you're like, what the hell's going on? But then you get the ones that sneak in like last week's, and it's like no one was expecting a whole lot, and it turned out to be pretty damn good. So, I'm trying to move my soundboard, and I clicked a button instead. I forgot this is the virtual, so it actually plays if I click on that button. Whatever, little entertainment for the beginning. I'll just I'll get another one.
Fucking shit together, my God.
There we go. Get another one out of the way. Talking to myself. I forget to use my virtual stream deck because the buttons, like, I can use them here, but I have everything set up here to control what you see on the screen. So since they released the virtual stream deck, I can now play sounds from that on the board on the screen. But the problem is I forget about it because I turn it off sometimes when I'm prepping. I take my laptop out there. I don't have multiple screens, so it covers like a big part of my screen. So you can hide it, and I forget to bring it back sometimes. So then I forget that I can even use it. So yeah, anyway, just a little insight into my chaos of a setup I have sometimes. But yeah, anyway, Thursday, man, we are just over a week away from UFC 319, which is the closer and closer we get, the more and more excited I get about it. The more I hear about it, the more excited I get about it. Not that I wasn't excited already, but, you know, we have Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev happening in Chicago, which means, you know, obviously we've already known that Chimaev's been in the U.S. for a little while now, and that was the main concern. Obviously, he's missed weight in the past, and there's been issues with health problems and stuff like that, but the biggest problem recently, since he's been pretty healthy, is that he hasn't really been able to like come into the U.S. to fight. So now that we have him here, let's hope that everything else goes smooth and we get an entire week of a good build-up. And then, hold on. There it is. There was the third one. There we go. Thanks. My wife's blessing me from the living room. 3 times. It's always 3 times. Earlier I sneezed probably like 6 times in a row. It was ridiculous. Sometimes you get that tickle in your nose and it just happens. I don't know. I'm bad though. I usually get it at least 3 times minimum. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So now we're just making sure that we get through the week. Everything stays good. No injuries, no illnesses. Let Chimaev be good. Let DDP be good. The rest of the card's pretty good too. I mean, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico in the co-main, and that is with Aaron Pico making his UFC debut finally. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page, and Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. That makes up your main card. It's pretty fucking good. But man, DDP versus Chimaev. So many people are so high on Chimaev thinking that he's just going to steamroll through DDP. I don't believe that whatsoever. And I wasn't even the biggest DDP fan in the past, but he has completely turned my opinion on that around. Now my nose is all stuffy after I sneezed. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, he kind of turned me around on that one. And while Chimaev is a fucking marauder in the beginning, he bum rushes, he puts pressure, and he is ready to end it quickly. After those first 2 rounds, maybe 3, possibly 2.5, what are we gonna see from him? Is he gonna gas? Like, what's gonna happen? And DDP obviously used to have that problem, and then he got the surgery in his nose, which sounds like that's what I need right now because my nose is so stuffed up. That's okay. I have something for it here in just a minute. But ever since he got that done, obviously we've seen him nothing but see, that's where I get it from. My mom says she can sneeze up to 10 to 15 times. That's probably why it's a minimum of 3 at least for me. But yeah, I feel you on that, Mom. But yeah, so I mean, is he gonna DDP used to have that problem, and then he got the surgery, and now we've seen nothing but him just elevating completely to the point where now he's the champ. And yeah, we're gonna see him go up against the person he wanted to fight against after having a title defense already, now Chimaev. And that's going to be exciting. I feel like it's going to be great unless it ends super quick, but then it's going to still be exciting, I'm sure, if it ends really fast. Or we're just going to have a crazy war. I don't know. But I'm anticipating that fight quite a bit, and I'm just waiting. Just waiting for it. Which reminds me, I got to text the guys and find out if they're in for this watch party, because it's going to be a good card. But anyway, besides that, we have UFC Vegas 109 coming up Saturday. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That's a damn good main event. And then we got a pretty decent card for the rest of the main card underneath it. So I am ready to get into the preview of that. But before we get to that, I want to go ahead and see if I can unstuff my nose here with my sponsor, Noctane smelling salts. Make sure you hit that QR code or the link in the description below. It's always there. And you can hit up their website and check out their main page, where at the very bottom you can see that they sponsor me, obviously. But yeah, you can see my logo down there. And check out the rest of the pages, page and products is what I meant to say. And read about, what's going on with these smelling salts and what you can use them for and all that good stuff. It's very informative. And the website is pretty fun to look at too. It's a bunch of cool psychedelic type colors. It's awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up these smelling salts real quick. And you know what? From now on, I turned on the light. I'm gonna turn off the fan because earlier I was trying to clean the bottle off. If you remember, on Sunday, I shook it with the lid not completely on, and I made a mess. So that's stuff like Drano for the nose. Yeah, I'm about to see. But I sneezed, and now my nose feels all stuffy. But yeah, so I was cleaning it up, and all I did was open it and leave it open for a second while I cleaned around the lid, and my eyes were watering. So this is the most potent bottle. That'd be why, the red cap. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a nice whiff here real quick. See if I close my eyes, maybe I won't water up so much. Oh, there it is. Oh, God, close it. Woo. 305, what's up? Oh, man, my eyes, it still got me in the eyes. Anyway, Noctane smelling salts. Get yourself some. Oh, wow, that really cleared up my nose. That's exactly what I needed, so I don't sound all stuffed up and nasally throughout this. I still feel like I sound that way, but it's all good. 305, welcome back. I got to turn this fan back on because it's warm. I'm sure Infinity, it's hotter over there, but damn, dude, we hit up like 112, 113 today. That's like a normal day for you guys, but damn, it was hot here. Which fighter is most likely to get to be warped back in time to Jurassic era? 120. God damn. Hold on, I got something for that. Yeah, thanks Noctane for the sponsorship as usual. 305. Let me see. Most likely to be warped back into time to the Jurassic era. I would say Shara Bullet Magomedov, the last pirate. He looks like the type. He just looks like he belongs in a different era. Maybe even Hamzat. Or possibly, who was the other one? I just had another one in my head. Damn it, I forgot. 305. You gotta, after I answer, you gotta tell me what you gotta tell me what your answer is. I'm always curious as to what you think, but you never answer your own question. Infinity said it's 120 there, which is crazy. Yeah, it's stupid. Felt like a baked potato when I picked my daughter. Holy shit. Yeah, man. That is
that's nasty.
Exactly. That's too much, man. Fucking too much. I feel bad for you guys, man. And I was in a building with like no air circulation. Yeah.
Bruh.
No air circulation. I'm over here fucking with my sounds. I'm sorry. I don't want to overdo it. Just having fun messing around. I'm sure Infinity likes hearing them again. It's been a while since we played around with the sounds. Brother, your answer is always on point. Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, but I want to hear your answers too, 305. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit up this. Let's see. We got the smelling salts out of the way. We talked about the stupid heat. 305 has already got one question in, and I appreciate that because it always makes me think, and he always appreciates my answers as well. So it's a good back and forth. I like it. So yeah, we got nothing else. We talked about the upcoming pay-per-view and all in within the first 12 minutes. So let's just get into this UFC Vegas 109, Dolidze versus Hernandez. Let's get going. So yeah, Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I always got to say Fluffy because it's just so fucking funny that his nickname is Fluffy. And you can't miss the dude. I mean, obviously, most of these guys are tatted up, but he's got some different kind of tats on top of the fact that, you know, he's got a unique look. He's got the, like, gauged out ears that are always either flopping around or just, like, out there. And his nickname is Fluffy, which is hilarious. Dom Cruz is most likely to randomly pop back into the Jurassic era. All right, why do you say Dom Cruz though? Why? I'm trying to figure out what would make. Like, you mean he would do it by choice, or he's the one that seems to fit the most likely to just. I don't know. That's. Take Jones and Connor with him. that'd be an interesting trio there to go back in time. Anyway, yeah, Fluffy with that nickname, man, it's just too hard not to say. It's too funny. I like it. It's so I always make sure I say it. Plus Anthony Hernandez, like, it's like, I don't know, it almost doesn't suit him. Hernandez, yeah, but Anthony, like, I don't know. He doesn't really look like an Anthony. Why the fuck am I talking about this? I have no idea. Anyway, Roman Dolidze, I listened to an interview with him on another podcast earlier today. And yeah, I learned some stuff about him. He's a pretty smart fucking dude, actually. He's like a boat engineer, I guess. Dom Cruz would be selected as he may have the highest chance of survival. Oh, see, you're going from a like logical analytic sense here. I was just going straight off of looks. Like, that's where that motherfucker looks like he belongs to. That's why I said the people I said. So that's a good different take, 305, and I appreciate that because I didn't even think of it that way. But yeah, so I mean, Dolidze, a smart dude, but I mean, you can only be so smart in the cage. You know, it's more about that fight IQ. That's the only IQ that really matters in there a lot of times. But Dominic Cruz was what his regular IQ was helping him out in the cage too. I was thinking of them getting eaten. Oh, yeah. Makes sense. Infinity. I figured it'd be something like that. But yeah. So I mean, yeah. Dominic. Speaking of Dominic Cruz, yeah, he had the fight IQ, but he also used his actual intelligence to get him through, and he figured some shit out before other people did. But with all the injuries and stuff, everyone else caught up to him with the footwork, and you know, as we saw with Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, I mean, they caught up quick and were able to stifle all those things that Dominic Cruz was able to come up with, and his body just wouldn't let him keep, you know, just keep progressing and evolving. So that's why he's retired now. It sucks, but yeah, Tucson guy, Dominic Cruz, he went to school here for a while. He lived here for a while. You'll hear him talk about it every once in a while. So yeah, I think my wife actually even went to school with him for a short period of time, something like that, I think. Crazy. Anyway, back to Dolidze versus Hernandez. Yeah, so I mean, this is gonna be good in our CST. Yeah, there you go, I was right. I thought I remembered that correctly, but you know, sometimes I misremember who I'm talking about, or who said what, and then I'm like, huh? But so in the CST staff picks that I made this week, I picked Fluffy. I think I should check, but I think that I think most everyone else picked Dolidze, which I thought was kind of crazy because Fluffy's on a 7-fight win streak right now. But I mean, Dolidze's a beast, obviously, but it's just, I don't know, to me, I'm getting that feeling that, yeah, I've bet against Hernandez so many times, not fully bet, but like bet picked whatever against him, and I've always been, he's another one of those guys that I just always underestimate, and he's proven me wrong every time, so I'm going with him this time. That's kind of my same logic with DDP for next week. So yeah, okay, 3 of us went with Fluffy, 2 went with Dolidze. Okay, so I thought it was 3-2 the other way, but anyway, those are my picks. I'll go back to those as I go on in the card. But Dolidze, I mean, he's definitely there to stop that win streak of Hernandez, and I mean, there's a good possibility he could do it. I appreciate that, 305, and I always look forward to doing these too, because I get to interact with people. You know, I don't get to talk to Infinity all that much anymore, and we're both, you know, busy working and stuff. And appreciate you too, Infinity. So it's cool that he jumps in here and you know, interacts and conversates with me too, and you know, everyone else that comes in here and you know, pitches in to make the show good with the questions and stuff like that. I appreciate it. So highlight of my week a lot of times is just sitting down in here for the 2 times a week that I do it, and you know, oh shit, yeah, I am, man, I am. Gotta figure out what we're gonna do or something like that, but we can definitely talk about that. I was just up there on Sunday in your area, but I went there for a particular reason. Thoughts on the Shab Moicano back and forth? Yeah, I think Shab was coming from a place of I think Moicano kind of mistook what he said. The problem is that Shab likes to throw in a few extra things here and there to make his point sound a little more juicy. So he says some things like calling Moicano stupid for doing it, and he didn't mean it in the way like you're just a fucking idiot, you know what I mean? He just meant it as in that was a stupid decision because the money was already put aside. The UFC doesn't give a shit, like blah blah blah, all those things we've probably all heard about. And but the thing is Moicano took it as a principle thing. Out of principle, he didn't want to take the money because he felt like he signed a contract, he was paid what he was signed to be there for. But you know, that's not how you progress. So I'm a little bit on Shab's side on this one, but I think the bigger thing that Shab fucked up on is that he's being truthful though. That's the thing. He analyzes things. He's an ex-fighter. He has insight into the game. But he said that Moicano would never be a champ. And while I understand why he said that, I feel like with the level of fights that he's had, there's always that possibility that he could. But the problem is that a lot of the big names that he's fought, he's lost to, and he hasn't shown that turn yet. While he was on a roll and on fire for a long time, maybe not a long time, but I mean for a long enough time to be noticed and to be catapulted to the top of everyone's list of who to talk about and who's a killer. When it came to the bigger name fights, he just isn't winning, and I understand that's why Schaub thinks that, and it makes a lot of sense, but it hurts to hear that, especially when he's saying it about you. So Moicano, especially with the language barrier, he seems like the guy that would take something and run with it in a way that maybe it's not 100% meant that way. So I mean, Moicano calls Bitcoin, and that's because he's from Brazil. He's got the accent. Portuguese says things in different ways, pronounces letters and combinations of letters in different ways. And I thought he was joking around at first. I thought he was kind of playing it up, but no, he legit doesn't say Bitcoin. He says Bitcoin. And because he's all into all about the crypto and stuff like that, so he talks about Bitcoin a lot, so he says it a lot, and it's so hard not to laugh every time he says it, because you think he's fucking trolling you, but he's not. That's just how he says it. He can't say Bitcoin, he says Bitcoin. That's just how it comes out. So anyway, maybe it's the language barrier thing or whatnot, but I do think that he misunderstood a little bit. But Moicano went back and started taking digs at Schaub in a more personal way. And I also feel why Schaub would get upset at that and be defensive about it. But at the same time, you brought it on yourself and you kind of said some shit that offended him. And so I see it both sides. But the thing is Schaub brings up some good points. I'm rambling about this because I do have those feelings about it. But I'm bouncing. I think the lead's upset. Okay. That's not a bad pick, man. Because welcome in, by the way. That's not a bad pick because a lot of people feel the same way, and it is definitely a possibility. So we'll find out why here in just a minute. But yeah, to wrap it all up, Schaub said some things that Moicano kind of misunderstood, took the wrong way, but also took offense to for good reason in certain aspects of it. And then he went on the defensive and said some real personal shit on Schaub. So yeah, it's just a back and forth thing, and for me, I see both sides of it. So that's why I'm kind of the way I feel about it. Who you got, C-Rod or Philly? Well, I listened to a podcast earlier that Andre Fili got interviewed on, and I mean, he just had a kid. He's super into like all the feelings that come with becoming a dad. I know that feeling. Things change. So let's see how he reacts, because that's the thing, is sometimes you get they say that you get the dad strength or the mom strength when these fighters become parents for the first time, and we'll see. Sometimes that does change things quite a bit. You're fighting for something more than yourself now, and you get that parental instinct that wants to provide, and that the way to provide is to win your fight, so you get that second check. So yeah, Infinity knows what I'm talking about too. But yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a different Fili out there, but the problem is that he's on a pattern of win-loss all the time. I mean, I'm gonna get to this in a minute, but yeah, he loses fights and then he wins and wins, and he's just on that pattern, man, and he can't seem to break it. So until he finds out how to string together multiple wins in a row, I think he's gonna lose to people like C-Rod. C-Rod's on a tear. Yeah, he's coming off a loss to the same guy. Well, he just lost. Yeah, I was just about to say that he's coming off. C-Rod's coming off a loss to the same guy that Andre Fili just lost to. So Fili definitely could, make this But I unfortunately I see him stringing together multiple losses before he does wins. C-Rod is just one of those younger guys that has what it takes to get past somebody like Andre Fili. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't know. He hasn't proven to me that I'm wrong yet on that aspect, so I don't see much coming out of him for this fight. But I could be wrong, so we'll see. And I'll get into that one again here in just a minute. So yeah, this should be a good card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prelims before we jump into the main card. Melky isn't a bad loss at all, to be fair. No, you're right, and both of them losing to him says something. I mean, because if C-Rod would have won, but Fili would have lost, I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. But the fact that they both lost just kind of shows that Melky is like one of those guys. He's a tough opponent, and he's game. So he beat both of them. C-Rod being on the tear that he was on, and then he gets beat like, it's like shit. So yeah, you're not wrong. And I'm assuming you're a Feely fan, or you're thinking Feely's got this fight. Let me know what you think about that one. Because not that you're going hard on it, but like it sounds like you have something for it, for Feely. So, and it makes sense. Don't get me wrong. I like Andre Feely. I have for a long time. I followed him for a while, but that's why else I see. I think C-Rod grinds out a decision. Okay, so you think it'll be a tough fight? That makes sense. I could see Feely coming out and dragging it out, but coming up short. So let's get into these prelims here real quick. We got starting off Ode Osbourne. I put these backwards. I usually put the first ones on the right. 29-28. C-Rod, Feely have a good third round. That's right along the lines of what usually happens with him. So that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, I put these backwards, but it's all good. We start off with Cody Brundage versus Eric McConaughey, and Brundage is 11-6 overall, 5-5 in the UFC. McConaughey's 0-1 in the UFC, 9-3 overall. So Brundage, as you can tell, 500 fighter. He had his last fight overturned. I don't remember exactly why at the moment. So but yeah, he's just back and forth. Doesn't have a lot of big names. He lost to Bo Nickel, so that makes sense. He beat Tracian Gore, but Tracian Gore just lost last fight too. No big names really there. Michele Zaechuk he lost to as well. So yeah, anyway, 5-5. McConaughey's coming in, trying to get his first UFC win. He's 0-1 with the loss to Nursultan Ruziboyev. That's a difficult one, so I can't blame him too much there. 33 seconds into the second round, he got TKO'd. So we'll see if he can come in and beat Brundage for his first UFC win, or if Brundage holds him to 0-2 in the UFC. Brundage arguably beat Mansour. Yeah, I think something happened with that where it got overturned. So he did wind up with the win on that one. I just don't remember why it got overturned. I heard this earlier and I just don't remember. It sucks. Stupid memory. Anyway, moving on, we got our first of three women's fights in the women's flyweight division. Gabriela Fernandez versus Julia Stoliarenko. Brundage arguably. Oh, I'm sorry. I think eye poke. Okay. That sounds right. I thought it was something like that. Eye poke, headbutt, something. I don't remember. Eye poke is probably right though. But we got Fernandez 10-3 overall, 2-2 in the UFC. Stoliarenko 2-6 in the UFC, 11-8 overall. Fernandez is coming off of a 2-fight win streak with a fight of the night and a performance of the night bonus in both of her last two wins. She beat Kong Wang in her last fight by rear naked choke in the second round, and then she had a split decision over Carly Giudice. So those are two pretty good fucking wins, honestly, and to get bonuses on both of those, that's looking good for Fernandez. But Stoliarenko, she's not I don't know that she gets run over easily, but she's 2-6 coming off a loss to Luana Carolina. She's got that win-loss thing going on in her record as well. Her last win was against Molly McCann, where she got that good armbar in the first round. But Molly was kind of I think that was Molly's second to her last fight. I think she got armbarred like twice in a row or some shit. But that, not to discount Stoliarenko's win or nothing, but yeah. And she beat Jessica Rose Clark in the first round by armbar as well. And that was where she got a performance of the night bonus. So her two wins in the UFC are both armbar wins. So if it gets to the ground, you know, that's something to look for out of Stoliarenko. But Fernandez is on a 2-fight win streak with bonuses in both those fights. So I mean, we could have a banger right there for the first women's fight of the night. Next up, we got Uros Medic versus Gilbert Urbina. Medic is 4-3 in the UFC, 10-3 overall. Urbina 7-3 overall, 1-2 in the UFC. This is in the men's welterweight division. Which of these fighters is most likely to overstay his welcome? Are you talking about just on the prelims or on the whole card? Because on the prelims, just judging by looks straight up, because I don't know too many of these fighters too in depth like I do a lot of the bigger name fighters. But Eric McConaughey looks like that type of dude that wouldn't get the point when it's like, hey bro, it's time to go home, party's over, and then he wants to stick around and bump the DJ table a couple more times, or talk about his grandmama giving him that chain and crying in the corner because he's too drunk. If you get any of those references, please tell me. But yeah, he definitely looks like the kind of guy you'll say he gonna cry in the car. But anyway, I'm making myself laugh, I'm sorry. I mean, I think Infinity and Chunks maybe have gotten a little bit of that. Yeah, so Medic is I'm sorry, coming off a loss to Punahele Soriano back in January. That was a TKO loss for him in the first round. Get away from my turntables. You got that one. And then he had a win over Tim Means where he got a performance of the night bonus. First round uppercut TKO finish on that one. So yeah, he's coming off a loss. He's been doing the win-loss thing as well. There's a lot of fighters with those kind of records on this card. But I mean, that's what they use a lot of these Apex Fight Night cards for. You know, we see Uros Medic, his name getting thrown around like he's, you know, a really good up-and-comer, which I feel like he is, but I don't know if he's at that level. Like, people just seem to talk about him a lot. Urbina's 1-2 in the UFC. His two losses are Charles Radke in his last fight, first round TKO finish, and then Brian Battle. That's a hell of a first fight in the UFC. Rear naked choke in the second round, and then his only win is against Orion Corse, which he got a TKO win in the second round. So I'm thinking Medic probably has this one, just judging by their records and who they fought, but you never know. Urbina's up for a good fight always, so that's that one. Next up, we have the next women's fight, Jocelyn Edwards versus Priscilla Cachoeira. This one definitely has potential to be a banger. 135 division, women's bantamweight. Jocelyn Edwards, 15-6 overall, 6-4 in the UFC, 13-6 overall, 5-6 in the UFC for Cachoeira. And Jocelyn Edwards is the one that had beef with Aylin Perez, if you remember. They got into it in the back. I think they they fought, but I just told you, Edwards lost to Aylin Perez when she fought her, but that was her last loss because she's on a 2-fight win streak right now with wins over Tamiris Vidal and Chelsea Chandler. Both finishes, one a sub, one a TKO. So she's coming up, trying to make it 3 wins in a row against Priscilla Cachoeira, coming off of a win over Jose Nunez. Before that, she was on a 2-fight losing streak with losses to Miranda Maverick and Jasmine Jastavicius. Jocelyn Edwards pretty underrated. Yeah, I think so too, man. But the problem is when you watch her fight, she's so awkward. And the first few fights I watched of her, I was like, this girl seems like the type of girl that just like got into this as a hobby and somehow made her way to win a few fights and got the UFC or some shit. But then I started really paying attention to her fights, and I'm like, yeah, she's got some talent. I think she's just really awkward. So her awkward style makes it hard to think that she's like a great fighter. So I think that's why a lot of people underrate her a lot. But I mean, she's got some talent for sure on a 2-fight win streak right now. And Cachoeira's trying to kill that win streak and take it into a 2-fight win streak of her own. She did get that performance of the night bonus in her last fight against Nunez. So she might be looking for another one here. which is why I say this could be a banger for the women. You know, as far as that goes for women, whatever you think that means for women, that's what I'm saying. Not a complete snooze fest, kind of. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, next up, we got Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. Elijah Smith is 8-1 overall, 1-0 in the UFC. Kazama 11-4 overall, 1-2 in the UFC. This is in the men's bantamweight division, and Smith, his one and only win in the UFC is against Vince Morales with unanimous decision. No decision, hopefully. Yeah, exactly. And that was in February of this year. So he's going for his second fight in 2025, trying to make it, you know, to 2-0 for his first 2 fights in UFC. We'll see what Kazama does to stop that. Kazama's coming up on going for two wins in a row. He's coming off a win over Gregorio by submission in the second round. He got a performance of the night bonus on that one, but he lost his first 2 fights in the UFC, both by TKO. Rinya Nakamura, who we just saw win this past weekend, and then Garrett Armfield, another TKO, both first round as well. So I guess if Smith can keep it on the feet and, you know, really put the pressure on Kazama, he might have good luck there. He does have 4 wins by KO TKO. That seems to be how Kazama loses, and he gets his wins on the ground. So, but Smith has never been finished on the ground. No submission losses, 1 win by submission. So, you know, his only losses by KO TKO. So he's going to be looking to make it 2 in a row in the UFC. And then last but not least, in the prelims, we have Julius Walker versus Rafael Carcaria in the light heavyweight division for the men. Julius Walker is 6-1 overall, 0-1 in the UFC. Carcaria is 0-2 in the UFC, 11-2 overall. Like I said, Apex Fight Night cards, you're going to see a lot of these kind of records. 0-2, 1-2, 5-5, 12-12. You'll find out why I said that in a little bit. But just records like that. I mean, these are the kind of nights that they put fighters like this on them. Not necessarily that they're bad or anything. It's just they have not been able to put together a lot of wins and wind up being 500 fighters. And that doesn't get you very far in the UFC, unfortunately. But if they're only at single digits, especially, then, you know, there's ways to bounce back. When you're into double digits and a 500 fighter, that's tough. But in the women's division, there's always potential to make it further. So Julius Walker is 0-1 in the UFC with the loss to Alonzo Menifield. That's a tough opponent. That was his first loss on his record and only loss on his record. It was a split decision loss as well. So it's not like he went out easy. And on top of that, it was a fight of the night bonus that happened in February of this year. So he's looking to get his first win in the UFC and get out of that loss column. Carcaria is 0-2 in the UFC with losses to Modestas Bukauskas and Ibo Aslan. Those are pretty difficult opponents as well. He had a TKO loss to both of them in the first round. So, shit. Yeah, he's going to have to try to, you know, do some wrestling and grappling to try to overcome Walker because he seems to get TKO'd easily. And being Brazilian and having 2 wins by submission and never been submitted before, I assume he's got a decent ground game, but you never know. So we'll see what happens there for the last prelim. Let's get into the main card fights, starting with Eric Anders, I believe. I kept saying Anders. I've heard it said both ways. I don't know, and I always make it a point to say that because sometimes people are like, why the fuck is you're saying it wrong? All of Carcaria's fights have been brawls early. Okay. Yeah, see, I don't remember him. I feel like I've heard his name. I don't remember him specifically. So that's why I didn't really speak on what his fights were like, because I just can't pinpoint what, like, remembering watching one of his fights. I mean, he's only 0-2 in the UFC, so he's only had 2 fights. So it's easily missed, you know, unless they're making a name for themselves quickly. Which of the main fighters is most likely to start a network marketing company post-retirement? Let me look. Let me look at this whole card. Oh, easy. I'll give you. And you know what? You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I'm doing that right now. Starting a network marketing company post-retirement, Steve Erceg. That's an easy. He looks like a fucking network marketing manager or some shit like that. Yeah. On this card. Oh, are you saying nobody does? Look at Steve Erceg, man. He just looks like a network marketing executive. not a UFC fighter. So that's again another funny one. 305. Oh shit. Oh man. Anyway, Eric Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Buy my supplements. Yeah. This should be a good fight to get us started on the main card. I mean, we always know CLD comes to fight, and he's a tough opponent. Eric Anders though has been around for a minute, and 9-8 in the UFC, 17-8 overall. But look at that: KO TKO wins and losses 10-1, submissions 1-1, decisions 6-6. But man, 10 when you get to double digits in that KO TKO column, at least you know he can stop people on the feet. That's what that tells me right away. He is coming off a win. He's older though, at 38. Christian Leroy Duncan 11-2 in the UFC, so he has a lot of fights in the UFC and only 2 losses, so that's pretty damn good. Oh, I'm sorry, 11-2 overall. Shit. I knew I read that wrong. 4-2 in the UFC, so 6 fights in the UFC, still not bad. 8-0 by KO TKO, so he's never been stopped on the feet, as opposed to Anders, who has those 10 wins by KO TKO. So this could be a banger. And then 1-0 by sub, 2-2 by decision, and he's coming off a win as well. Interesting there, never been finished, only lost by submissions. So that's an interesting fact to look at when you're looking at this, because as you see, Anders has 8 losses on his record, and he's been finished twice. Still not bad, but still not nothing like CLD. So I don't really know where I was going with that one, but I was just making the point that he's been finished in a fight, and Duncan hasn't. That was where I was going at. I'm throwing myself off here. Anyway, let's take a look at who Eric Anders got his win against in his last fight, because I said he's coming off a win. Chris Weidman, that's right. December of last year, that was Weidman's last fight. And yeah, he got the ground and pound in the second round, TKO win there. He lost before that to, oh, I'm sorry, that was grappling. So actually, Anders is on a 2-fight win streak. So I missed that because I think I only put 1 win. And the other wins against Jamie Pickett, where he got a unanimous decision win there. So I mean, he's lost to the bigger names, and the like mid-range to lower guys is who he's beating. Kyle Dawkins, he's beat twice. Jamie Pickett, Charles Radke, and well, Chris Weidman on his retirement fight, basically. So that's that. I mean, Anders has been around for a minute though, like I said. Christian Leroy Duncan, 4-2 in the UFC, coming off a win over Andre Pulev, who we just saw, I think, win in his last fight this past weekend. But he's got a loss to RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez, and then 2 wins before that to a couple guys, Claudio Ribeiro and Tululin. Those were TKO wins for him. So yeah, I mean, this could definitely be a fun fight on the feet. It doesn't look like these two go to the ground much, but if they do, who knows what can happen there. I assume they would get back on their feet pretty quick. So I think this is either going to finish on the feet or go to a decision. And either way, I mean, I think maybe Anders has a bit of an advantage on the feet, and but Duncan can take it, and if he can withstand everything, can get the decision. So I think Anders can pull the upset, not gonna lie. Yeah, and that's the thing. My CST staff picks, by the way, Combat Sports Today is what I'm talking about. I collaborate with them, so they do staff picks and for the week, and I picked Eric Anders. I think I might have been the only one that picked him. Let me pull that up again real quick. Let's see. Yes, I'm the only one that picked him. Everyone else picked Duncan. So we'll see. I might have a quick win above one above everybody else right away. So let's get to the second fight. We got Miles Johns versus Jean Matsumoto. Miles Johns is the never mind. I was gonna say something, but I shouldn't say that. He's 15-3 overall. See, 22-12 in the UFC. I messed that up because I saw that I messed that up, and I guess I never fixed it. I know I put the right picture in. Maybe I didn't actually save it correctly. Let me look real quick. I think that might have been this one. Nope. Ah. That one? Nope. See, these are the few I found mistakes on, so I tried to change them. Nope, not that one either. So I didn't fix that one. That's the thing. I think I forgot to download it, so that's okay. We will go back to the correct one here. Even though it says 22-12 for the UFC record, that's absolutely wrong. He's actually 6-3 in the UFC. I wonder if I didn't. No, I got the rest of this right. Okay, 4-1 by KO TKO, 2-1 by sub, 9-1 by decision. He's coming off a loss. And then you got Matsumoto, who is 2-1 in the UFC, 3-0 by KO TKO, 6-0 by sub, 7-1 by decision. So interesting. He's only got one loss, and that was by decision. So he hasn't been finished in a fight either. So that's a good thing to pay attention to if you're making picks here. I did pick Matsumoto in my picks, just because Miles Johns, I don't know if he can hang with Matsumoto, even though he's been around a little bit longer. All of his fights go to decision, basically. At least they have since like 2022. And he had 2 wins before this loss to Felipe Lima. That was to Douglas Silva de Andrade and Cody Gibson, both unanimous decision wins. He lost by unanimous decision to Lima. So yeah, he doesn't do a lot of finishing, and with Matsumoto not being finished before, that is why I picked Matsumoto. At least one of the reasons, I should say. So let's take a look at Matsumoto and see. He is coming off a loss as well to Rob Font, but that's a tough opponent. Rob Font is game. That dude that's a tough fight for anybody. So you can't really blame him. That's his first loss of his career, first loss in the UFC. So that's a tough one there, but he's got a win over Brad Katona, who is the 2-time Ultimate Fighter winner, and Dan Argueta. Unanimous decision to Katona. Argueta was a submission win in the second round. So I'm thinking Matsumoto wins by finish on the feet or on the ground. Doesn't even matter. But if Johns gets his way and gets it to the decision, he has a chance there. But I still feel like Matsumoto will pull it out. So next up, we have the fight we talked about a little bit ago, which is Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, Andre Fili coming off of having a kid recently, and yeah, he seems like some things changed in him. So we'll see how that affects him in his fight this weekend. Is it gonna be a detriment, or is it gonna be something that propels him to fight better for whatever reasoning? So you never know, especially when coming off a loss. He's got that win-loss type record that I was talking about earlier. So we'll see how he bounces back from this loss, if he gets a win or, puts 2 together for losses. And also with this new fire under him, we'll see how that affects him. It could be bad. It could be good. A lot of times it's good for these guys, especially when it's their first fight back. And I believe this is his first fight coming back from having that kid. If not, it's one of the first. So we'll see. Let's see. He's got a lot of fights under him. He's only 35. Chris Rod is solid fighter, yet silent. Yeah, he is one of those guys, unassuming, doesn't talk a lot of shit. But man, he can wreck some fools in the cage, that's for sure. But Fili's got a lot of fights. 24-12 overall, 12-11 in the UFC. One of those fights I was talking about. 10-4 by KO TKO, 3-3 by sub, 11-5 by decision. So double digits in KO TKO and decision wins. He is coming off a loss. And then you got C-Rod, 5-3 in the UFC, 12-3 overall, 3-0 by KO TKO, 4-1 by sub, 5-2 by decision, coming off a loss as well. And I think both of these dudes are coming off a loss to the same guy, is what I was talking about earlier. I'll confirm that here in just a second. Yeah, Melquizel Costa, Andre Fili lost by submission in the first round. Before that, he had a split decision win over Cub Swanson, and that was a fight of the night, which was a damn great fight, actually. I forgot about that fight until recently. That was June of last year. And a lot of people thought, I think that one might have been, I don't remember at this point, but he had a great win there, and a lot of people thought he was going to turn it around and string together a good amount of wins, maybe get into the rankings and in contention. But yeah, and then he turned around and lost to Melquizel Costa. So I mean, it's a tough one. I don't know what to say about Fili, because I like him a lot and I think he's a great fighter, but he just can't seem to put together wins and go on a streak, you know? So we got C-Rod coming off a loss to the exact same guy, Melquizel Costa, but that was a unanimous decision win, so he was able to take him all 3 rounds, while Fili got finished in the second, I think it was, no, in the first round. But before that, C-Rod had a win over Austin Bashi, who just won last weekend, and then a loss to Julian Erosa. And before that was why everyone was so high on him, with 4 wins in a row coming into the UFC, all by decision except for his first one, which we got a bonus on. That was a submission win. So I mean, these guys both go to decision a lot too, but I can see C-Rod really putting in some work on Fili, and Fili's always down to stand and bang. So they might go at it, and it might be a great fight. Honestly, it has a lot of potential. Both these guys are good fighters in their own right, and I feel like we have a pretty decent matchup here, but I feel like Christian Rodriguez is going to go ahead and take this one, and that was what I made for my pick on that one. Let's move on to the one women's fight on the main card. Jasmine, it's Jasmine or Yasmin, I don't even remember. Lucindo versus Angela Hill. Angela Hill is what I was talking about. I mean, she's 13-14 in the UFC, which is fucking tough, man. Holy shit. It's a lot of fights, and she has more losses than wins. But here's the problem. She gets a lot of split decisions. I mean, look at the decision column right there, 12-12. A lot of decisions are split decisions that don't go her way a lot, even though it looks like she might have won that fight. Her problem is she can never elevate herself to a point where she wins things in a fashion that is unquestionable. There's just always a reason to be like, she might have lost that fight because of this, and this. Which of these two fighters is most likely to star in a rom-com? Oh my God. Oh man. I would say either Fluffy Hernandez or Christian Leroy Duncan. They look like the types that could get mixed up in some kind of rom-com. And honorable mention would be Steve Erceg, because he kind of reminds me of Steve Carell, and we've known Steve Carell to be in some rom-coms of his own. So at first glance and by looks, you would say Steve Erceg if you know anything about Steve Carell. But yeah, I think Fluffy and CLD look like the types to get mixed up with the highness and have some drama and some funny shit happen. So that's my answer. I want to know what you think though, 305. I'm going to keep asking you that. But actually Angela Hill as well, because Angela Hill is actually pretty fucking funny. I don't know, she has a podcast of her own with Jessica Penne, who's not bad looking. Not like the rest of them, but somewhat. And but anyway, they have their own kind of MMA fight breakdown podcast, and she's actually really funny. I've heard her on other podcasts before. If you watched her on The Ultimate Fighter, I mean, she said some fucking unhinged, like off the wall shit, but it was all fucking hilarious. So she might actually be the #1 name to pick in that rom-com. Most likely to star in one. Maybe she's the woman to whatever guy. Her and Christian Leroy Duncan, that kind of actually even Fluffy, that kind of would make a good pairing. All right. So back to the fight. Yasmin Lucindo is 17-6 overall, 4-2 in the UFC. Look at that, 8-0 by KO, TKO, 3-3 by sub, 6-3 by decision, coming off a loss. Angela Hill's numbers are insane. Not only is she 40 years old on JRE, yeah. Oh, Angela Hill on JRE, yeah. That's where we found out that her grandparents were what is it, Benny and Betty Hill or something like that. The like first people to have or record like a UFO encounter or some shit, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, she talked about that on JRE, which was interesting. But look at that, 40 years old, 18-14 overall, 13-14 in the UFC. Fucking crazy. But she's never been stopped on the feet. 5-0, 1-2 by sub, and 12-12 by decision. I don't know about you, but I think she goes to a lot of decisions. She's coming off a win. Let's take a look at Lucindo, who's coming off a loss to Amanda Lemos. That's a tough opponent. Went to a unanimous decision there. Before that, she was on a pretty good win streak of 4 in a row. Brogan Walker, Polyana Viana, Karolina Kovacevic, and Marina Rodriguez. Those are some tough-ass opponents there that Lucindo has beaten. But then she lost to Amanda Lemos in her last fight, March of this year. So all of those fights were by decision except for one, which was a submission over Polyana Viana. And then we got Angela Hill coming off a win over Ketlin Souza. That was a split decision win, like I said. Before that, she lost to Tabitha Ricci by unanimous decision. She had a couple wins in a row, Luana Pinheiro and Denise Gomes. That was a unanimous decision and a submission win with a bonus on that against Pinheiro. So yeah, if you just look, a lot of red, green, red, green, red, 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 green, green, green. So crazy, her record, man. But she's beaten a lot of big names. She's fought a lot of people. I mean, she fought the Karate Hottie, Michelle Waterston, Claudia Gadelia, Yan Xiaonan, Rhonda Marcos, Courtney Casey, Marina Moroz. All kinds of fucking people she's beat. Or not beat, but fought. Fought and beat some of them. So yeah, it's it could be a crazy fight here. I kind of regret my choice on this one. I picked Pinheiro, and that's just because of the win streak she had before this current loss. And you know, I just picked her because I just feel like she is the type of fighter that Angela Hill has trouble with, and that's because of the forward pressure. Pinheiro keeps women on their back foot. And while Angela Hill's pretty decent at fighting there, I feel like the pressure is a bit much for her. She gets frustrated if she's not taking, you know, not being the aggressor, I think. And when you let her get to that point, that's when she gets things like this submission you see in this picture on the right-hand side. So she's pretty fast. She hasn't lost that speed really, no matter, I mean, even though she's 40. She hasn't lost that speed, and I feel like that could be one of the things that gives her an advantage here. You think Angela Hill will stop the grappling? I think Hill better on the feet. 100%. With all of the losses that Angela Hill has, yeah, she's never been stopped on the feet. So you're spot on with that. I don't even know. I don't know what to shorten your name to. Bouncing? I don't know. That's a long name to say every time. You know what I'm saying, though. But yeah, that's a good point, and I feel like Pinheiro is definitely going to put the pressure on her. Maybe try to get her a bit winded with some grappling and wrestling and some groundwork. But Angela Hill's good on the ground as well. I just don't know that she could stop the takedown, and I don't know if she'll be able to handle what Pinheiro has for her on the feet. So, AB? Oh, I got you. That's what you're saying. A. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's a good one. I was like, what the hell is he saying? But I got it. Shortening the name. Anyway, Yeah, so I did pick Pinheiro on this one, and I could definitely easier. And I could be wrong because Angela Hill will pull a fucking win out of nowhere, and that's what's crazy about. Yeah, you can't bet on Angela Hill. You can't bet on her. You can't bet against her because you never fucking know what's gonna happen. She's like the definition of not knowing what's gonna happen in a fight. But it should be a good one, hopefully. Moving on, we got co-main event: Steve Erceg versus Ode Osbourne. Steve Erceg, 3-3 in the UFC, but I mean, his last fights are insane. His last 3 fights are his only 3 losses in the UFC, and just crazy. He lost to Pantoja for the title, and then just couldn't bounce back. And this is what I always talk about when guys either lose their undefeated record, lose the title, stuff like that, you know, or on a big win streak and then finally lose. How do they bounce back? The only difference with Erceg, though, is he's trying to bounce back fighting the upper echelon of the division, like the best guys in the fucking division. So it's hard to even hold those 3 losses against him, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now. Double negative that normally I'd be like, that's fucking tough, and I'm surprised this guy's still in the UFC. You could say that if you wanted to about Erceg, but the thing is the level of opponents that he's had is just crazy. And that's all. I have to repeat myself and say it again. It's crazy. And so they have to give him a chance. They have to let him see if he can get a win. I mean, I guess if he goes 0-4, 0-5, then yeah, you might want to fucking see maybe he needs a reset and go somewhere else for a minute. He's only 30. While, you know, 30, sometimes people are like, oof, it's a little older, but that's kind of peak time for most guys. That's, you know, so he has time. If he goes away for like a year and gets a couple fights in another lower level organization or something, and then comes back and goes for another run. I feel like felt like I was gonna sneeze again, and then I coughed. I don't know what's happening. My eyes are burning. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, Erceg, he's still there, man. I don't know if it's his face that makes me feel bad. No more red cap right now. That'll probably make it worse at the moment. maybe more of this. But yeah, so I don't know, there's something about Erceg. I want to just give him chance after chance, but we'll see. If he doesn't get this win, it's a little tough, you know, to see what to do with him, especially when they give him somebody like Ode Osbourne. He's not your steamroll guy. You're not going to steamroll him, but the thing is he's not the level of opponent that Steve Erceg has been fighting the past few fights in his career in the UFC. So it's a lower level fighter from where he's been, and on top of that, Ode Osbourne's not even ranked, I don't think. So it's kind of a good fight for Erceg because now they're at that point where they're testing him like, okay, this is a mid-range guy. When you were fighting, you know, top tier guys, we put you at the mid-range guy. You lose to him, we might give you a chance to fight that really lower level guy, and then if you lose to him, you're really done. Sometimes they won't even give you that chance. It sucks to say, and it's weird, but that's kind of how they work it a lot of times. So Erceg's really got to get a win, especially against someone like Ode Osbourne. Osbourne's 5-6 in UFC. This is partly why I'm saying this. He doesn't have the type of opponents that Steve Erceg's been fighting, so that's why I can't hold him, you know, in the same regard as Erceg. But he's 5-2 by KO TKO, 5-4 by sub, and 3-2 by decision. He is coming off a win, 13-8 overall. Let's take a look at Erceg. Like I said, his last 3 fights are just insane. A loss to Brandon Moreno, former champion, unanimous decision loss. That was his last fight. Before that, he got a TKO'd by Kai Kara-France, which was tough to watch, man. And 4 minutes into the first round, I like Kai Kara-France though. So, but watching Erceg lose that title fight against Pantoja by such a small, like, I guess, I don't know how to say it. It was a really close fight, even though he lost by unanimous decision to Pantoja. I still feel like he made some mistakes that if he didn't make those mistakes, he definitely could have won, especially in that 5th round. So, and you know, unanimous decision doesn't always mean that all of the judges scored it for Pantoja. It just means that the majority of them did, and that's why they say unanimous. What am I saying? Unanimous decision. No. So yeah, they all scored it for Pantoja to win, but that doesn't mean that they like thought it was a clean sweep. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, now that I'm confusing myself, but you know, it was a close fight, and he really, look at Pantoja's face in this left-hand picture. Like, that kick to the face is nasty for one, but for two, look at Pantoja's face and the damage. Erceg was putting in work, and he was really, really close to being able to get that win. And I think that really weighed on him. So when he came back against Kai Kara-France, which was only a few months later, he went from May to August. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 3 months. 3 months later, he fights Kai Kara-France and gets TKO'd. So he took some time off after that, and then it was March of this year when he fought Brandon Moreno. But again, former champion. Just 3 big-time names, and shit, he lost them all. So it sucks. But he's looking to bounce back here against Ode Osbourne. Let's take a look at Ode. Coming off a win over Luis Gurul, and that was a TKO win. He got a performance of the night bonus for that one. Second round TKO. Before that, he himself was on a 3-fight losing streak. This is what I'm talking about. But those opponents were Ronaldo Rodriguez, Rafael Filio, and Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev right now is doing great, and Ode Osbourne was one of the guys he beat on his way to the great run that he's on right now. So yeah, I mean, that's a tough opponent there, but still not the level of opponents that Erceg was fighting. I'm gonna keep touching on that because I have faith in Erceg, and I think that I think we need to see him go on another run and get back to fighting at the high level that we saw him fight before. It just seems like he came up a little short. I feel like he needs another chance to get there. Ode's always on a win-loss type deal, so I don't feel too bad about derailing him, even though he just came off a win. But I do think Erceg is a level above, and I think he'll show it in this fight. So that's your co-main event. Let's get to this main event. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Again, another tough fight, middleweight division. And we got and my chair's all stuck. We got Dolidze, 15-3 overall, 9-3 in the UFC. 8-0 by KO TKO, 3-0 by sub, 4-3 by decision. He's on a 3-fight win streak. But I mean, look, he's never been stopped on the feet or on the ground. Only lost by decision. Those are his only 3 career losses overall. And then you got Fluffy Hernandez, 14-2 overall, 8-2 in the UFC, 3-1 by KO TKO, 8-1 by sub, and 3-0 by decision. So oddly enough, he's got the O in the decision column, where that's the only place that Dolidze has any L's. So yeah, and then Fluffy's been stopped on the feet and on the ground. But I still have he's on a 7-fight fucking win streak, and he's beaten some good opponents. And that's where I'm kind of basing my pick on this one. By the way, in the Erceg versus Osbourne, if you couldn't tell, I picked Erceg in my picks for that one. So but going for Fluffy here, I picked him just because I feel like he's on this win streak. I think that he might be a bit too much for Dolidze, even though Dolidze is a badass on his own. Also on a win streak at 3 fights. Let's take a look at who those were against real quick. For Roman Dolidze, 3 wins in a row. Marvin Vettori, that picture on the left, unanimous decision, but as you can see, landed some good punches there. Kevin Holland had that rib injury in the first round, so it's a TKO win for him there. And then Anthony Smith by unanimous decision. So looking at his opponents, they are some names, recognizable names, right? But Kevin Holland is one of those guys too, where it's just down to fight regardless. Win or loss, he's in a good fight. It's interesting. But you know, he's not like a super high level guy. Anthony Smith, I mean, we've seen what he did in his career, kind of up and down too. And Vettori is kind of the same way. Even though he's fought for a title and stuff like that, it just seems like he hasn't bounced back really. So he's got 3 wins over names that are recognizable and tough opponents, but you know, not the highest level. He lost to Nasruddin Imavov, and lost to Vettori when he fought him the first time. So he was on a 3-fight win streak, 2-fight losing streak, and then before that was on a 4-fight win streak. Jack Hermanson, Phil Haas, Kyle Dacus, and Loreno Strapoli. But in Hermanson, Haas, and Dacus, he got performance of the night bonuses in all of those wins, all by TKO, and all but one in the first round, which is pretty impressive. And that's where a lot of people get their feelings on Dolidze, remembering those fights and the fact that he's on a 3-fight win streak right now as well. Not as impressive as those first 4 fights, I think, but still impressive. So Fluffy, 7-fight win streak. Just he's got a little bit of everything. He's not a master at one thing. He's just really good at a lot of things. And I think that's what makes him a difficult opponent. Again, I counted him out all the time. I was betting against him when I was betting. I was picking against him. And I just kept having to fucking, you know, take the L every time. And it was unfortunate. So I stopped underestimating Fluffy Hernandez. He's got those 7 wins against Brendan Allen, Michel Pereira, Roman Kopylov, Edmund Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barrio, Josh Freemed, and Rodolfo Vieira. All recognizable names. Maybe not the bet against E. Exactly. But he's got TKO wins in there, sub wins in there, decision wins in there. His last loss was in 2020 to Kevin Holland, which was a TKO loss in the first round. It was fast too, but that was back in 2020. He beat the Iron Turtle in 2019 by submission. He beat Brendan Allen a second time further back when they were in LFA. So yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of wins over a lot of big names. He's good on the ground. He's good on the feet. He's been stopped in both, but only once. He has no losses by decision. So, I mean, if it goes to decision, maybe it's leaning towards him. Dolidze has 3 losses by decision, but 4 wins there as well. So he's never been stopped on the feet or on the ground. Maybe this is where Fluffy, you know, gets a submission or a TKO because he's good at both. He can do both. He's got plenty of both on his record. And maybe this will be the first loss where Dolidze gets finished. Or even if so, it's still in Fluffy's favor if it gets to a decision. So it could go either way, really. I feel like it's a really good matchup and a really interesting fight for the main event. And we'll see what happens. Let's get to the fight wheel predictions before we end things here. And we'll take a look real quick at the results for last week. UFC Vegas 108. So we had Ribovics versus Esteban Ribovics versus Elvis Brenner. The fight wheel picked Ribovics and picked that correctly because that's who won. We had Elizu Zaleski dos Santos versus Neil Magny. The fight wheel predicted Zaleski to win and he did not, so 1-1 there. Let's see, Nora Cornelli versus Carol Rosa. The fight wheel predicted, thanks 305, appreciate you. The fight wheel predicted Cornell and Rosa won, so 1-2. Another Chris Duncan, which is crazy. Chris Duncan versus Mateusz Rebecki. The fight wheel picked Duncan to win, and he did, so that's 2-2. My boy's going around to Infinity. Yep. Infinity's definitely one to add in there because he's done the show plenty of times with me too. So and then let's see, next up we had Viejos versus Silva. The fight will predicted Viejos to win, so that's 3-2 because Viejos did win. And then the fight will predicted Park Hun Sung Park versus Tatsuro Taira. Fight wheel predicted Park and Tyra won, so 3-3 for the fight wheel this week or last week. So let's see what the fight wheel has for us this week. Let me delete these names. I'll put the fight wheel predictions to the left and I'll leave them there so that way we can go back to them next week and find out how the fight wheel did. And if you ever want to know what the fight wheel has for predictions, in case you want to bet with it or against it or whatever you want to do, just make sure you are subscribed and you just go back to my channel and watch it, unless we are past the event, and then obviously it doesn't matter. All right, so let's see what the fight wheel has for us here. Let's get our first pick in. Fight wheel for the first fight of the night is picking Angela Hill to beat Yasmin Lucindo, which is not good for my picks, but it's something I could see actually happening. I kind of regretted picking Lucindo, but it is what it is. That's your first fight wheel prediction. Let's get to the next fight. For UFC Vegas 109, second Apex fight in a row. John Matsumoto to beat Miles Johns. That's exactly what I picked as well. So if the fight wheel's right, I'll be 1-1. Let's get rid of that name. And let's see what the fight wheel has for us next. Here we go. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to beat Roman Dolidze in the main event. That is what I have as well. So that's a good one for the fight wheel to predict. Let's get those names out of there. 2 more fights left. How? What did I do? I think I might have forgotten names. Steve Erceg to beat Ode Osbourne. I think I forgot a name. But that's a good pick because that's what I have picked as well. Let me see who I forgot here because I feel like I forgot somebody. Let me go. I checked all this too. Erceg. Oh, Lucindo Hill. Yeah, I got that. Feely Rod. Did I forget C-Rod and Feely? I did. Well, that's stupid. Let me add them in here real quick. Okay, I'll just abbreviate those. All right, so 2 more fights left. Let's see what the fight wheel has for us. I don't know how I missed those names. I even double checked. Is it gonna stop on Feely? Oh shit, it is. Oh no, I had those names in there. They were right there. So who did I miss? Oh, Anders and Christian Leroy Duncan. That's who I missed. Okay, so let's get rid of all these. There we go. Okay, so we had Feely. And now we got our last pick. So yeah, the fight wheel predictions are not the same as mine, which is a bit upsetting, but Eric Anders, I did pick him, so that's good. That one's with me. I really gotta like triple check the wheel. I'm over here messing things up for the second week in a row. All right, so there it is. We have Angela Hill beating Yasmin Lucindo. We have John Matsumoto beating Miles Johns. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez beating Roman Dolidze in the main event. Steve Erceg beating Ode Osbourne in the co-main event. Andre Feely beating C-Rod Christian Rodriguez. And then Eric Anders beating Christian Leroy Duncan. So those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Vegas 109. And which fighters are most likely to start a backyard wiffle ball league? Oh my God. That is a tough one. I don't know. That one, I don't know. Wiffle ball league? I might say, oh man, who's like a younger guy? I'm keeping my picks from earlier. All right. Fuck 305. I don't know, man. That you got me on that one. I can't even think of a single guy right off the top of my head. Maybe fucking Paddy Pimblett. He seems like the type of guy to play some shit like that. Who else have I seen doing kind of Marab? Marab does crazy shit all the time. Wiffle ball might be a little too tame for him though. Maybe Patty Pimblett. Connor beating Jones with a concrete filled bat. Holy shit.
Damn, son.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's it for me. Fight wheel predictions are done. UFC Vegas 109 should be a good one. I feel like it should definitely be a pretty good card. We had a few really good fights in there that make a lot of sense and are good matchups. So a tickle wiffle ball. And some good interactions in the chat. So I always appreciate you guys. Thanks Infinity, always for supporting, brother. Appreciate you. Let's see, 305 Chunks always in here shooting out some crazy questions, but I appreciate them. They make me think and always make me laugh. All right, I'm bouncing. AB, thank you for jumping in. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Hit that notification bell. Throw me a like. Do all the good stuff if you don't mind, please. Yeah, you got it. I got it. And then my mom and my wife, of course, supporting as always. So thanks to everybody. Come back on. I believe I will be able to do it on Sunday night this week. I hope. If not, it'll be Monday. So Sunday or Monday for the recap of UFC Vegas 109. Come back next Thursday for the preview of UFC 319 and hopefully a watch party. So that's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.